Welcome to the Light, Camera, Rant Podcast. Your source for the latest on movies, TV shows, and video games. Get ready for ranting, raving, and reviewing. Here is your host, Lee.
Hi everyone, welcome back for another edition of Lights, Camera, Rant. As always, I'm your wonderful host, Lee, and what we like to do on this podcast is we like to get into the news and then we get into the reviews. But before that, we just have a little bit of housekeeping first. So, thank you very much for everyone coming back for another episode. Now, before you ask, I must say I do apologize. This particular episode, unfortunately, is not going to be a video episode. As previously promised, due to some technical difficulties, I wasn't able to produce the video the way I wanted it to. So, unfortunately, this episode won't be a video. However, in a consolation prize, if you do go check out both me, the Nerd Dose podcast, and Mark My Words, we create a live Instagram video which came out this Sunday, so you can definitely go check that out. So that was posted all over our social media, Instagram, so please check that out. And I would like to say, I deeply apologize that this episode wasn't a video. I would have liked it to, but some things unfortunately didn't fall into place and made it a little bit tricky. So my next goal is to hopefully bring you another video episode in between now and Black Panther review. So more video episodes are on the way once I figure out the little difficulties. But as always, please go check out all our social media. Give us a like, share, follow, and a review if you do have the time. It goes a long way. Also, we've added more items on the merch store. So we've added beanies and we're going to be adding mugs. So definitely go check out our merch store. More stuff is coming. And please, as I said, go check out our Instagram live video. That was a lot of fun. That was our very first reactions to Thor 4. And we also touched on a lot of Marvel points, Phase 4, where it's going. We've also touched a lot on that as well. So now that's out of the way, this particular episode, we will be looking at the final of The Boys, and we're going to be going a deep dive into Thor 4, which I got to see this past weekend, and have I got some stuff to talk about. So, let's get into the news first. Now, unfortunately, this past week, we've received some very sad news. Now, I most likely will butcher this straight up. Razuki Takahashi, unfortunately, has passed away at the age of 60. He was the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember Yu-Gi-Oh! I used to love the show. It was also a manga as well. Duel Monsters, I think I collected that a lot more than I collected Pokemon cards back in the day, if you will. Oh my god, I'm showing my age. But there was so much fun. I remember I collected so many, I got to the point where look, I've got to just put this all into a folder and close the folder and let it be done. So I had to do that in the end. So very sad to see that he's passed away. And also James Cain, who was also in Alf and the TV show Las Vegas, he unfortunately passed away as well. And look, for everyone from the Lights, Camera, Rant family, our deepest condolences to the friends, family, and pets. It's never a nice thing, and it's always very sad. And unfortunately, as we get older, this can unfortunately tend to happen, but you just got to look back and really appreciate their body of work and what they brought to this world. If they made you laugh, smile, or cry, then, it's a testament to what they've done. So, moving on from, unfortunately, that little sad bit, is the fact that apparently Taron Egerton, I probably butchered his name too as well. He was in Starman. It was Starman, I think it was. Yes, Starman, which was the Elton John biopic film. He was also in The Kingsman, he apparently in a conversation, he has met Kevin Feige to talk about him appearing as Wolverine, which, I'm all for it. He's a great actor. Definitely got the height difference for Wolverine, so that would be good too. I'm really looking forward to when the new Wolverine person does get announced, and if people do say, he's too short to play Wolverine, I'm like, well, actually, Hugh Jackman was too tall to play Wolverine. That's the difference. So I'm very excited if he does get the part, because you gotta remember, whoever does play Wolverine moving forward in the MCU has got plenty of work to go on, and they're going to be popping up everywhere. So it is a massive role. Yes, very big shoes to fill for Hugh Jackman. However, what you're beginning to, who you're going to be meeting up with is just going to be fantastic. So for a young actor, it is a key crucial role to be a part of, because you got to remember the fact that both Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart both have the Guinness Book of Records of the longest portrayed comic book character in film. However, I think the person that could be most likely could take that away from them is Chris Hemsworth. Apparently he's got a few more years obviously to go, but obviously he's not out yet, so he could still take the title for the longest portrayed comic book character in film. So tell me, guys, would you be happy if Taron was playing Wolverine, or do you have someone else in mind? Please let me know in the comics. Moving on, now 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did mention that apparently a new Infamous game was in the works. Now, unfortunately, the developer Sucker Punch has actually come forward and said that, look, we actually don't have a new one coming out. There is nothing on the table, which I was very gutted to see, because it's it was a good franchise. But at the same time, you see the same thing in film and studio. You see the fact that people were like, no, we're not making them, we've got no plans, and then boom, very next day they pump out saying, oh, here's an announcement for that exact game I said, yesterday or a couple of weeks later that we weren't making. We are actually making it. We just wanted to surprise you. So remember, guys, regardless if it's morning or afternoon, stay hydrated. Good little cracking with me. But yeah, unfortunately for any Infamous fans, not the case right now, but don't lose hope. Moving on, for Jedi Survivor, which is the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, apparently Darth Maul is getting reported to apparently appear in the game, which I am all for. I love seeing Darth Maul on screen, regardless if it's a big role or a small role. Like, look at Star Wars, the anime Clone Wars. Fantastic, especially towards the end, and including his very small cameo in a Han Solo movie. Still really good. Now, I was about to say I'm all for anytime he whips out his lightsaber. That probably sounds a little bit bad. Anytime he's in combat, because he's such a cool character. And then when I also draws me back when I saw the first time I saw Phantom Menace with the music, the dual lightsaber. It was just awesome. So, and if he's in the game, fantastic addition. Also, we got some really big news, which was fantastic, is that we've got a release date for God of War Ragnarok. November the 9th. Lock that in, ladies and gentlemen. Get your pre-orders, which will go on sale on July the 15th. We got an announcement. We got a brand new trailer. The trailer looks bloody fantastic. And it's funny, I was watching it and I got to the end. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on, but I am all in. 110%. Now, another release date we also got. So 24 hours before that, Ubisoft is dropping off Skull and Bones. So we got a new trailer for that. Now, this is a pirate game. Essentially, to really put it basically, is like if you like Sea of Thieves, same kind of concept, but realistic version. The game looks really good. We got a gameplay trailer and an official trailer as well with this recent drop. It's piqued my interest. I'm all for it. Especially when what they did with Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So, and it's funny actually. I look at this game and I feel like I feel like it's been going on for so long, for like development hell, because myself and my mates, we went to E3 in 2018, and there was a gameplay demo of the game there, and that was nearly 5 years ago. Oh my god. Shit. That far long ago, and the fact that, and we still haven't seen the game yet. So originally it was meant to come out, I think, Feb or March 2023, but they've pulled it forward. Now, a tricky thing is the fact that that's coming out right before God of War, so it will obviously impact the sales of the game. Both these announcements came out, I think, about 48 hours to each other, so, it's no fault on them, but at the same time, there's a big, tall order, the fact that you're going head-to-head with God of War, which could be arguably the game of the year between that and Elden Ring that obviously just came out. So for me, I'm going to get Skull and Bones on pre-order, I'm going to get God of War on pre-order, I've currently got Harry Potter on pre-order, I've got the Saints Row, the remake, on pre-order as well, and currently also got 2 Point University on pre-order as well, ready to come. Sorry, excuse me. Little interesting thing as I didn't know, that for any 2 Point fans, now obviously when games get created between like PC and PlayStation, there always are some technical difficulties, especially trying to solve the controllers and try and get the interface. Now, the creators of 2 Point, in a discussion, said that when they originally made 2 Point Hospital, it was also with the purpose of PC in mind first, and then they made it available for PlayStation, Xbox. Yes, and they admit that in fact there was difficulties trying to do that reverse, and obviously PC got the DLC first, and then it would trickle down to PlayStation, Xbox. Now, they've said in a statement saying the fact now 2 Point University, which is a sequel, completely had in mind the fact that this game was first designed for both PC, PlayStation, Xbox together. So these are all launching on all these platforms at the same time. They will get this DLC at the same time. The interface is very similar across the board. So they've really pushed forward for the focus, the fact that this is a cross-platformer and it's going to work in tandem with each other, which I think is fantastic news to hear. The fact that they've come forward saying the fact that that is happening, they're taking their approach with it, and the fact, they're going to be trying to make sure the fact that the experience across the board is for everybody. No one is second or third. It is everybody first things, across the board, as I said. So that's good to keep in mind. Moving on, unfortunately, now I'm not really gutted about this, but the GTA 4 and Red Dead remakes that apparently were in the works, it's rumored the fact that they've been canned. That they'll no longer be moving forward due to the very dismal response to what happened with the GTA Trilogy remake, which... oh god, that was really bad. That was really bad. I'm still playing it now, but at the same time, this could have been a lot better. It's funny, actually, when I saw this, I was like, oh, that sucks. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually tempted to go back and play Red Dead, the first one, all the way through again, because it was such a good, fantastic game. So even just seeing that sparked me to go, I want to go back and play this game, because it was just so much fun. But from what I've seen from everybody, no one's really gutted the fact that they're not remaking these games. And funny enough, GTA 4 still holds up now. It still holds up now visually, and that was a great game. And Red Dead probably could use a little bit of touch-up, but Grand Theft Auto 4 still holds up now. No, honestly, if you see a comparison to some games now, GTA 4 is still ahead of the curve. Moving on as well. Now this was really weird to read. No joke. So, a big fan of the F-Zero game series with Captain Falcon apparently bought 40,000 worth of stocks to ask the Nintendo executives why they're not making a new game. That is bloody insane. The fact that you've gone to that limit, spent that amount of money just to ask him, yo, why aren't you making a game? Are you making a game? You know, they've gone to that extent, and the fact that, you know, no one can give him an answer, so he's like, well, you know what? I'm going to buy a whole bunch of stocks, and then you will have to pay attention to me. So there is no limit to what a fan can or can't do. I hope no one ever forgets that. But honestly, solid trooper. Moving on, this second story I couldn't believe either was the fact that apparently someone uploaded Doom into a McDonald's ordering kiosk stand. Yes. So someone's uploading that so you can play Doom while you order Macca's. My biggest thing is how. How did you do that? How did you get an interface to do that at all? And, you know, again, you've got so much time on your hands, and the fact that you did that, I give you absolute props. Absolute props. But yeah, if you want to order Macca's and play Doom, this guy's gotcha. Also, for any Lollipop Chainsaw fans, you're in for a treat. So about 2 weeks ago, there was a whole rumor going around that apparently a sequel or a remake will be in the works. Now, the developer have announced they are remaking the game, and it will be launched in 2023. Now, what they've also said is the fact that massive graphics will be overhauled, and the fact that the soundtrack will be altered due to the fact that obviously some licensing details, and obviously what's finished and how to obviously what you have to reapply for. So I've got to keep that in mind. Similar thing will happen with the GTA remastered trilogy. A lot of songs weren't in that because the fact that, you know, the licensing has ended, or the fact that the artist was asking way too much money and it's ridiculous. So that's what's happening. So any of those your fans, you're in for a treat. Also, one I could not believe either when I read it is that if you're wearing a suit, don't bother going to see Rise of Gru, the prequel of Despicable Me. Apparently, people are getting shunned away and saying no entry because a whole bunch of TikToks went viral where a couple of blokes got the boys together and were rocking up in suits with a banana to go watch Rise of Gru. I love the internet. I was reading it, I was like, what the fuck? Why? That's my biggest thing is why. But apparently, you know, we started with one person, and multiple people have done it. Rocking up in suits, full-fledged suits, and going to see the Rise of Gru. Well, props to them. Yeah, if that's what you want to do, go right ahead. All the movies you could do it on, you do it Rise of Gru. So, yes, if you're wearing a suit, don't bother. You might get shunned away from people saying, nope, not at all. Another thing now, what we also got is that we were well aware of is the fact that Loki Season 2 has gone into production and filming. That's all started. We saw the facts of set photos were leaked. They're currently shooting in London at the moment. It was both Morbius and Tom Hiddleston walking into like a hotel wearing a suit. What I find is that when I see these set photos, I don't see them as spoilers. What I see them as is that you look and go, well, when... The biggest thing is, when does this actually pop up in the show? You know, when do you actually see it? And not to mention, you know, is this the beginning? Is this the middle? Is this the end? You know, that's the biggest question when you do see this, which I find. Because I remember seeing set photos of Infinity War and Avengers of Ultron going, what is going on? I was pleasantly surprised, but like, you know, those are the big questions that you do ask. So I couldn't believe it when I was seeing these set photos and like what's going to happen. But yes, Loki Season 2 is in full swing with filming, and I suggest we probably will get that July next year, roughly the release date, you know, once they do all the special effects and everything, especially the fact, you know, filming could take about 4 to 7 weeks depending. So don't you worry, guys, Loki Season 2 is on its way. Also moving on now, funny enough, so apparently James Gunn in an interview said the fact that Avatar 2 will be 3 hours long, and he doesn't want to hear any of you bitching or moaning saying that movie goes for too long, because the fact that I know that you're going to binge a Netflix show for 8 hours. Now, I understand that, yes. The fact that no one should complain for a 3-hour movie. However, there's a difference from being at home in your bed with very easy accessible facilities compared to being in a movie theater with a whole bunch of people, especially if you're still COVID shy and you don't want to sit through a 3-hour movie. Myself, 3-hour movie doesn't bother me. The Batman was 3 hours. Endgame was 3 hours. That doesn't bother me at all as long as it's good content. I hope Avatar 2 is going to be good content. However, my bold prediction is the fact it will not come anywhere close to the first one by miles. That is my biggest prediction for that. You can hold me to that. But apparently James Gunn interview really lashed out on that. I'm like, well, mate, it's taking you this long to make a sequel, so better be good or you're not going to... Well, actually, I was going to say not make another one, but he's also said that apparently after Avatar 3, he'll pass on the reins to somebody else. I'm like, you're the one who wants all these sequels. Who says they want to make an Avatar 4? You could have ended the story perfectly in Avatar 3. So who says you're going to want another one? Who says the audience is going to want another one? So that was a very interesting conversation with James Cameron in that interview. I was like, all right, you're a bit of a dick. Also, the last bit of news is the fact for any Dragon Ball Super fans, you're all in for an absolute delight. Apparently, a new season will be dropping next year, 2023, a sequel to the Tournament of Power, because apparently a new season is in production. Now, obviously, that is for that production. Regarding for it to be dubbed over, you guys are still looking for when it gets dropped. We're still looking at another about 6 months after that, which is really annoying. I wish they would just do it at the same time. It would make it a lot easier. But Dragon Ball Super fans, 2023 will be your year. I also really hope in this year, obviously, but if not, Invincible Season 2. Come on, Amazon. Please drop that. Feels like it's been so long since we got Invincible. But look, guys, that was the biggest news that's happened in the past week. Now the reason you're probably going to ask, now, Lee, the latest episode of Miss Marvel came out. Will you be reviewing that? No. So I'm not going to be reviewing Miss Marvel for this particular episode. I'm going to wait next week, because next week is the season final. So I thought, I'd really wrap that up. This week is the season final, but I will be reviewing it for next week. And we're going to do a whole conclusion of Miss Marvel all together. Because right now we're going to be talking about The Boys, and we're going to be talking about Thor 4. So I thought I'd hold on to that, and then we'll dive into Miss Marvel, being more centric for next episode, because of the fact that, all wrapped up and where that's moving forward in the MCU. Now, The Boys. The Boys. So, the last episode, which came out last Friday, Instant White Hold Wild is the title. Now, look, it's a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. The Boys is all done and dusted for a year. It's shit the fact it's already done and dusted, and the fact we have to wait another 12 months before we get another season, which season 4 is confirmed, obviously, so don't you worry. But, yes, The Boys are done, and what an episode we got. This episode had action, it had drama. The writing for this was so good. I didn't have a big gripe about it, except for one. However, I will get into that. So obviously this picks up from the last episode. Everything's... and the fact that where we're seeing these characters going, moving forward, and the fact that everything was Starlight, exposing Homelander, how he's responding to that. And, obviously they're getting Soldier Boy to fight Homelander, and the fact that the I forgot her name, the Senate girl gave Homelander a note about something, and we find out what that note is. So the note was the fact that it showed, or it told Homelander where to find his son, where to find Ryan. And in exchange for that was to kill another Santa so she can run for vice president. Oh, spoilers! Spoilers left, right, and center, guys. Sorry I didn't say it earlier, but spoilers. So that's what the note was. So Homelander goes find Ryan, and the fact that he has a conversation with him, and Ryan goes with Homelander, and they fly off. So that was okay. Wasn't expecting that. I knew Ryan was going to come into it at one point, but the fact that he did come in was, pleasantly surprised. So that's how that starts off at that point, and we also get the fact that Butcher and Huey, Butcher takes out Huey, so the fact that he can't take any more temporary V because we know that it's going to turn their mind into mush. So he right hook Huey into the ground, and then Huey gets picked up by Starlight. They rekindle their friendship in this episode, which is really nice. And we also get to see that with Mother's Milk. We see the fact he's still reeling with the fact that he struck his daughter's stepfather because he was really got a massive hard-on for Homelander, so he's still feeling with that, which we got a really nice closure where he actually sits with his daughter and explains to him what he's going through, what he does. So that's a really nice moment right there. It was also nice to see that Huey and Starlight have also, come together, fix their issues. Now, obviously, as this episode leads into, with everything kind of wrapping up, poor Noir! Poor Noir! I did not expecting that. So we see Noir returns to Vought. He sees Homelander, and the fact that they want to kill Soldier Boy. And later in the episode, Homelander asks, Homelander asked Noir, "Did you know Soldier Boy is my father?" And he said yes, and that he must die. Homelander kind of, feeling really sad because Noir lied to him for how many years, and the fact that Noir ditched him just a couple episodes ago when they find out Soldier Boy was hunting them down, and fist right through the chest of Noir, and poor Noir, he's also dead. So spoiler alert, we'll also get to see the little critters from the previous episode. I like that. I like how they were being very sympathetic with him, saying, now you can rest, now you don't have to worry. But yeah, Noir's bye-bye. And the fact that also Maeve escapes because of the fact that everything that's going on with Starlight exposing Vought, they try to transfer Maeve out of the facility, but she escapes, so she gears up for the big fight at the end, and the fact that Butcher also takes more Temp V, which we knew that was going to happen. He gets Soldier Boy geared up as well, and they all meet at Vought, and we didn't know at the point how it's all going to play out. How Soldier Boy going to react to Homelander, and everything else. Because we get the team together again, with a little bit of struggle, but team together. Because Huey's like, we need to save everybody. The speech. We got to save everybody. No one gets left behind, and we get this wonderful interaction between Soldier Boy and Homelander, and which for a small second, you think the fact that he's going to be nice to him, but no, Soldier Boy lays into Homelander, saying how weak and how much he's a pussy, which which was pleasantly surprising, and then they start getting into a fight. Now, just before that fight begins, Homelander does bring out Ryan, and saying the fact this is your grandson, and all this. And as Soldier Boy goes to strike Homelander, he also hits Ryan as well, which both Homelander and Butcher really don't like. And for a brief second, they team up and both laser beam the shit out of Soldier Boy and push him back further out of the scene. Homelander starts fighting Maeve, and then Butcher goes after Soldier Boy. And it's quite funny because Soldier Boy was like, to Butcher, like, why did you help him? And he's like, oh, why'd you help me? Because he F your wife? Like, it's a funny scene because you're just looking and go, yeah, that's the weird thing. You just help the guy that slept with your wife, and the kid's not yours, and the guy that could kill the guy that slept with your wife, you helped him. How convoluted is that? So the fight scene's really good. However, the gripe I have for this episode was the fact that as it all progresses, we also see the fact that, the boys rock up, Starlight, MM, Frenchie, Makiko, they're all fighting Soldier Boy. Maeve is still fighting Homelander, kicking his ass, actually, really kicking his ass. And what they do is they make a new serum, a new gas toxin to take out Soldier Boy. And as they go to do that, they actually one-up him. But when they do that, he starts going nuclear. But to save everybody, Maeve jumps out the window with Soldier Boy to save everybody because he's about to go nuclear and kill everybody. So Maeve does that amongst all this, and Butcher actually covers Ryan because he thinks he's about to die. Homelander doesn't, because he gets stabbed in the ear with I think it was a pencil or something like that. So we do see that, and even though the Butcher was going to save Ryan still picks Homelander. However, I feel like that could have been kind of him knowing the fact that if he didn't go with Homelander would, probably kill Butcher. However, yep, Ryan goes off with Butcher. Ryan goes off with Homelander, and in this scene, the only thing, so all that's going on was a great final. Action was good. The drama, the back and forth, definitely leads into season 4, which is apparently meant to be a shit ton more intense and more dramatic. And apparently Jeffrey D. Morgan from the Walking Dead and from Supernatural is apparently going to have a part in it. He's going to apparently appear in it as well. My biggest gripe is the fact that, this entire season has been leading the fact that Homelander will finally get his ass kicked. And I thought he would get his ass kicked a little bit more before, everything that happened with the episode towards the end, where he starts fighting Maeve and, he goes off with Ryan and Soldier Boy fighting Butcher and the boys. I was kind of hope Homelander would get his ass kicked a lot more. That was probably my only little gripe. I was like, I was expecting, that little bit more from that. But besides that, it was a really good episode. It was a really good final. I can't wait for season 4. I just hope the fact that Homelander finally gets his ass kicked in season 4, because it's long overdue. Massively long overdue. And unfortunately, Butcher gets told the fact that he's only got some certain amount of time to live. He doesn't tell the boys about this. However, Starlight quits being a superhero. She joins the boys. They make a really dynamic team. Everyone pretty much says F you to Butcher. They all want to, they're all going to stand up for themselves now. They're not going to just take orders. So it's left it in a really nice place. Definitely left enough for a season 4. However, it was just the thing. I just wanted to see Homelander get his ass kicked more. Oh, and also, the stepdad of MM's daughter is an absolute dick, and probably now the most hated person in the entire Boys TV show over Homelander, because the fact that Homelander kills somebody at a rally because he throws something at Ryan, because Ryan is there at the rally with him because Homelander is showing him off, and the stepdad starts clapping away after the guy gets killed, and Homelander's all happy. So I'm like, yeah, look, you're now the most hated character, and you're most likely going to die very, very quickly, which you can only hope. But look, guys, tell me, did you really enjoy The Boys? Did it live up to the hype for you? What did you think of this season? And are you pumped for season 4? Do you think it's dry? How long we have to wait? But definitely let me know in the comments, and definitely if you want to see season 4, and do you feel like Homelander didn't really get his comeuppance? He should, like, that little bit more he should have got. Alright, so moving on to the main thing of this episode is we got, finally, Thor 4, Love and Thunder has dropped. Got to see that this past weekend, and look guys, I'm going to say this straight up, it does not deserve all the hate it is getting. It is not that bad. Not to mention, people are saying the fact that, again, it's the fact that no one knows where Phase 4 is going. Thor 4 did give no direction about it. And to those people, I say, so what? It is the same thing for Phase 1 of Marvel. We didn't know where everything was going. We only had this little piece of string. So just be patient. So Thor 4, what we do is we get to see the Guardians at the very start. Pretty much very much a sequel for Endgame. And we see what Thor's been up to. He gets back into shape and everything. He's going in Avengers on the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they really, really want to ditch him. But the action for this movie is solid. The comedy, there is a lot of comedy in this movie as well. Seeing Natalie Portman return as Jane Foster was a refreshing addition. She nails it as Lady Thor, female Thor, in all of her scenes. She is one of the biggest highlights, in my opinion, of the movie. And so is Korg. Seeing a lot more Korg is fantastic. Who's played by Taika Waititi. Valkyrie, seeing more Valkyrie is fantastic. She nailed a lot of her scenes. And Christian Bale. Christian Bale absolutely nailed it as Gore the God Butcher, which we got at the very start of this movie. Starts with him, and we do get his backstory. How the fact that his daughter passes away, he prayed to the gods, nothing happened. Then he found one of the gods, and the necromant sword, and kills the god, and that's how he starts the vow, and the fact that he will become the God Butcher, which I really like the fact they dived that much into his backstory, and you really got a sense to him why he's killing all the gods, and why gods deserve it, because, what have they done for everybody else. So you really get a sense of that. So he's not just a villain that's like world domination. I want to be, I want to be the richest. I want to be all this. I was like, no, the reason he's being this, cold and hard like this is because of the fact he's shown that gods don't do anything, and they don't save anybody. So that was really good to see. And this movie is visually stunning. The colors, it's almost like an 80s metal album. Is fantastic. Soundtrack is on point. There's obviously lots of Guns N' Roses from the trailer, and every time Sweet Child of Mine, Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City plays, it is perfect. Taika Waititi has crafted a solid action/comedy movie with a stellar soundtrack. Now, and the fact that seeing Chris Hemsworth back in Thor, seeing how ripped he is, it's like, whoa, he's the rippest he has been for Thor for this, because I know the fact he's leading into playing Hulk Hogan in a new Hulk Hogan biopic film. But I would say the biggest anchors for this movie, nothing against Chris Hemsworth, is the fact Jane, Natalie Portman, and Christian Bale as Gore. They nail a lot of their scenes in this movie. Their acting is on point. And not to mention, there's a scene which you can see in the trailer where they go to this black and white world. Visually, again, that is a great scene. When it starts off, it's black and white, and they're fighting Gore. And as they're fighting Gore, as they start beating Gore more, the colors start bleeding through in the scene, and just the lightning effects, the gold bolts, all fantastic. Seeing all this. Now, the gold bolts, they obviously get from Russell Crowe playing Zeus. Russell Crowe nails playing Zeus. There's a lot of funny scenes with that. Guy's a bit of a dick as the movie goes on. Also, the scene where he's talking also made me think of The Boys, because he's talking about how, look, he says to Thor, if you keep chatting up, I'm not going to invite you to the orgy. I'm not going to do it if you keep... And I was like, really? Made me think of The Boys straight away. And, you know, the only big gripe I had about this movie is the fact it felt a little bit too short. And you probably, not that you can tell, but, you know, from Christian Bale, that there's a lot more scenes. There's a lot of scenes that could have been in this movie. This movie could have been 2.5 hours long. You know, it didn't need to just fit in that 2-hour time frame. So that I understand when people saying they're too short. Between this and Doctor Strange, yes, both times I can say they can be longer. Go ahead, Marvel, pull the trigger, make them longer without obviously stretching it too much where, you know, you're like, oh, just wrap this up. So that's my only gripe for the movie, really, is just the fact it should have been longer. Like, I felt all the Marvel tropes were hit on point. It was refreshing. It was nice seeing these recurring characters again. It was, you know, great seeing Jane Foster as Thor, you know, and a different villain. You know, it was so much to this movie, but I still felt like I was seeing a solid Marvel movie. I wasn't like, oh, you know, this isn't living up to the hype, or, you know, this isn't on par. Like, it's definitely 110% a sequel to Thor Ragnarok. You can't argue with that. Still saw the same vibe. So if you like Thor Ragnarok, you will really like Love and Thunder. You know, there's also the goats in the movie that just constantly scream, which Taika Waititi has said the fact that it's because that he got inspired by Taylor Swift's Trouble when someone redubbed it with the goat screaming, which I actually saw that also someone redubbed that with a printer. But these goats are so funny. And you think they'd be, at the very start, you think they're going to be annoying, but they're actually not. They're actually, you know, every scene that you do see them in, they're actually quite funny. And, you know, there's also, I almost thought Korg was going to die, which thank God he didn't, because Korg's such a good character, you know, and the fact that, you know, I can't wait for him to be in more movies. I really hope he does. Now, originally when I saw this, I did think that Thor was going to die, and then Jane would take his spot moving forward. However, that isn't the case. Unfortunately, well, Chris Hemsworth's still alive by the end of the movie. However, Jane Foster does pass away. They very well from the rich of the comics is the fact that she's got cancer, and the fact that, you know, she's obviously not sick when she is Thor. However, it is draining a lot of her strength, so it's kind of like speeding up the process of her passing away. And there's lovely scenes where you get to see where she gets out of being Thor when she drops the hammer. And the fact that you do see her, you know, the fact that she is looking weak, you know, her hair color changes, you know, it's not blonde, it's brown. And you do see the fact that it's really taken its toll on her. So I'm glad that she came back for this movie, because obviously she wasn't in Thor 3. So this movie was a big, like, definitely seeing Thor move forward after Endgame, getting back into shape, and also wrapping up everything of, like, Thor's journey from when he first started on the screen between Jay and everything. It's kind of sad, the fact that, you know, they rekindled their love and everything. However, unfortunately, she dies at the end because of cancer. However, which you could tell, because they mentioned it so many times, she does go to Valhalla, the after credits scene, which is essentially like heaven for the North mythology. And she sees Heimdall. That was a really good cameo that we got to see. I'm so glad he really appeared. No Loki for this, but we do see that Thor does have a R.I.P. Loki on his back with Loki's horns, which is really nice to see. So that was good. And also the fact that another after credit scene, we've got to see they've introduced Hercules. Hercules is now in the MCU. I forgot the actor's name, but he's in Ted Lasso. So I'm really glad to see Hercules is into it. Don't know when we're going to see Hercules again, but the movie did end saying Thor will return at some point. So if they're going to make Thor 5, I think they could definitely do it. I would still go watch it, but I think it's overly necessary. I definitely think it would have to be another buddy with another character coming in, so it's not just a Thor film. But overall, action on point, comedy on point, visually on point, story still solid. There's some great moments in this movie, so I highly recommend anyone to go watch this if you want to laugh or just want a feel-good movie. Definitely recommend to go watch it. Chris Hemsworth again nails it as the God of Thunder, and Christian Bale nails it as the villain. Kind of wish he was more like a 1 or 2 movie person, not just a single movie, but when he's on screen, he nails every single scene. Even there's a particular one where he's talking to both Valkyrie, Thor, and Jane Foster as well individually, and it's a very intense, like, under your skin feeling. And the thing is, when he's talking to him, he's not like, I just want to kill you, blah, blah. He's like, like the biggest one was Valkyrie. He's like, think about it. The gods sent you and your sisters out to go fight Hela and you got slaughtered. What have the gods done for you? And you feel for her, honestly, because you're right. They knew that they were going to lose against Hela because she was the goddess of death. So you felt that. You felt that with Thor as well. He's different to other gods, and Jane Foster, when he's talking to her, he's like, you're very different, you're dying, and I can tell. And you're like, shit. But again, honestly, did I enjoy this more than Doctor Strange? About same on par. However, I laughed a lot in this movie, especially finding out more about Korg's history, the fact that they are all males and they all hold hands in a massive lava pit, and the fact that he got a love interest right at the end, Dwayne, which is a rock monster. I'll let you figure that out. And there was one bit where Thor's like, oh, look at all these space whales. They mate for life in packs of 6. I was like, whoa. But honestly, solid film. And for all those haters saying the fact, Marvel's got lack of direction, or you don't know where everything's going, just be patient and shut the fuck up. Just enjoy the movie for what it is. Their little dots will come into place. All it takes is you to look a little bit further away from the picture, and you'll see what's all coming together, which I have no doubt we'll find out in San Diego in a couple of weeks, and Kevin Feige will be like, we're doing this and this and this and this, and everything will start falling into place. Not probably fully into place, but it'll still give some direction, which he has said it will do. So be patient. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed my Thor review and the boys, and I thank you again for coming in for another episode, and I appreciate every single week. And I appreciate when you interact on Instagram, Facebook, the Spotify questions across the board. It just warms my heart and this community. So please drop me a line. I am always up for a chat. Again, I am sorry this is not a video episode, but I will promise you that there will be another one coming. I just need to figure out my technical details on my end. But guys, until next time, happy ranting.
Thanks for listening to Lights, Camera, Rant. If you like the show, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, leave us a rating and review, and be sure to tell your friends. Until next time, happy ranting.